All right, guys. So before we get started here, I just want to preface that I do not want to sound like I'm complaining, and I don't think anybody should complain about something they choose to do. Obviously, I choose to be a natural bodybuilder, and hypogonadal test levels are something that just comes with uh, getting stage lean most of the time for most cases. And stick around till the end, and I'll tell you why it was so bad for me and how you guys can learn from my mistake, right? So this is to talk about my experience, and it's kind of interesting, and I just had a lot of people ask, and I hope that it can just be like an interesting topic so you guys can learn more about what it was like. But I'm just going to be talking about my experience. I am not complaining. I actually thought about making this towards the end of prep when I was really suffering, but I don't want anyone to feel bad for me, and I didn't want anybody to feel bad for me. I didn't want it to sound like I was complaining because I chose to natural bodybuild, and that's just part of it, right? It comes back on the reverse diet. So it got really, really hard towards the end, guys. I would say at about 3 weeks out from my first show, and then the 2 weeks into the next show, and I'm still not recovered. It's only been 5 weeks post show. My coach told me that I honestly probably won't start to feel fully normal until after the new year, which is literally like almost 10 weeks post show. So, first of all, guys, the reason I really screwed myself is because I did back-to-back preps. I got stage lean. I competed in December of last year. Took about 3 months off of just binge eating and not even, letting my body fully recover. If anything, just making it worse by putting on a ton of fat, gaining a ton of weight quickly, skewing my health metrics, and then diving into a prep right away 3-4 months later, right? So back-to-back preps is the honest reason why my test was so cooked and test got so low, right? So I felt great the first part of prep, until I really hit like sub 10% body fat. That was when things got hard. And I was, coasted, slow, easy, sustainable prep until about like 4 or 5 weeks out from my first show. We really turned it on when my rest day calories went to 1,700 and my training day calories were 2,000. Obviously, I got my test checked 3 weeks out. It was 48 or 49 nanograms per deciliter total test, and free test just as low. And obviously, I had zero libido, zero desire for the female species. I hated being touched. I was really just emotionless, and I was just you can see it in my eyes. Like in my 1 week out YouTube video, I was hurting. I was kind of almost lifeless in a sense, emotionless. I really just felt nothing but hunger, and hunger is whatever, right? You have to be able to deal with that as a dieting natural bodybuilder. It was more so I just wasn't excited about anything. I had no drive. I had no emotion. I had no love in me, and it affected my relationships. I just didn't really want to do anything besides sleep. I was just going to bed as early as possible, trying to get the best sleep, but I was waking up from hunger anytime from like 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. And then it would take me like an hour or so to fall back asleep. I'd sleep until like 6 or 7. And I started having hunger anxiety attacks, like 2 weeks out, where my stomach would just feel like it was starving and my anxiety would just plummet and skyrocket through the roof. And I would just start freaking out and feeling miserable. Another thing that happened is I just had no desire to work or do anything. I wanted to get in and out of the gym as quick as possible. Cardio was the last thing I wanted to do. I remember I had to do a 60-minute Stairmaster session on the Sunday 1 week out from my show, and it was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like I've never wanted to not do something so bad. I had to force myself to do check-ins. They were like the last thing I wanted to do when coaching is a passion and a dream of mine. I didn't want to work. I just wanted to be alone. And It really ruined some of my relationships. I barely hung out with any of my friends. I kind of was just lifting alone and in that zone. I started to hate the gym. I just wanted to like get my workout done as fast as possible. Towards the end there, I just started to let my weight drop and I stopped maintaining the numbers that I had worked so hard to maintain all of prep. My strength plummeted, guys. I'm talking like down 50 to like 75 pounds on every single exercise. I definitely lost some muscle mass in those last couple weeks. Lost some fullness in my upper body, 100%, when I was digging to bring those glutes and hammies in. I remember I didn't even want to pose. Like, guys, I was in such an energy deficit and I had such low energy. I'll tell you 3 stories here. I remember one time, like, I couldn't even bring myself to take a shower because that was too much energy to wash my body. I remember I, one time I almost slept downstairs on my couch because I didn't even want to walk upstairs to go up the stairs to my room. It was so hard. I was in REDS, which is a relative energy deficit syndrome. A lot of athletes get it because they don't eat enough. And as bodybuilders in a cut, we purposely put ourselves in REDS, for months. And it finally caught up to me. The 3rd story is one time I was down staying at my parents' house and I went on a walk with my mom to get steps in. We would just walk the dogs in the morning, right? Little morning dog walk. I couldn't even keep up with my 50-year-old mom while she was walking the dogs at like a normal, dog walking pace. And I remember just like trailing like 20 feet behind her because I couldn't even walk fast enough to keep up with her. And I just remember being such in an energy, like getting used to living life with such low energy that anytime I got any amount of carbs in me, like loading for peak week, it literally felt like my life changed. Like I'm like, holy crap, this is what energy feels like. And it was the craziest experience ever. Carbs just hit you so hard. But overall, feeling wise, having, subgonadal test levels, having less than female test levels, I didn't feel horrible. You do get used to living with that low energy. It's crazy. It makes the simplest tasks difficult. Like, yeah, there's so many times I would just like dread going up the stairs in my own house. Like, you guys have no idea what it's like to have that little energy. That's why you have to have a step count as a bodybuilder, because you literally will get like minimal steps because your body does not want to move. Your body's trying to conserve as much steps as possible. I remember in those weeks of digging prep, my resting heart rate at night dropped to like 32, just because my body's trying to save as much energy as possible. And emotionally, I just wasn't there. I was emotionally unavailable. My eyes were like lifeless. You can see it. If you guys watch my peak week vlog, when I'm getting waxed, you can just see how tired and lifeless I was. I just wasn't myself. And it's not like a pain you feel. It's just having that low of test, you lose all drive for anything but like food. You lose drive for anything but food and sleep. So that's the best way I can explain it. You almost lose yourself in a sense. I definitely lost my personality. I lost who I was. I had to force myself to I just going to the gym is not something you look forward to. It's really not a pleasant experience, but it is something that comes through natural bodybuilding. And I learned to force myself to do stuff and pull from my mind when it felt like there was nothing left. It felt like my body had nothing to give, nothing. And I would have to force myself, pull from my mind to get through those Stairmaster sessions, to even, go to the gym and lift, which I love. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the experience, and it does take time to come back. So the reverse diet is important for that, bumping your calories up and, getting out of a calorie deficit, getting out of REDS. So energy wise, I feel good. I feel solid in the gym again. Not what I used to be. Strength still hasn't come back, but I get pumps now and I'm motivated to go to the gym. But full like drive and motivation is not fully back yet, guys. I just have to, use my discipline and stick to my daily habits in order to, continue to be successful and continue to get what I have to do done. Libido, not back yet. It's pretty much had negative libido for the last, since I can remember, literally like the last 4 months. So I'm going to be getting my levels checked again soon. But that's a little bit of insight on things I experienced while having really low test. And I learned to just really, really pull from my mind and give more when it felt like there was nothing to give. I would say the worst symptom I experienced was definitely the sleep. From 2 weeks out to my first show, I couldn't sleep through the night. I would wake up in the middle of the night, and then the hunger anxiety attacks. I had, I think, like 3 of those episodes. Those were absolutely horrible. So if any of you guys have experienced anything like that on bodybuilding prep, it is just part of getting peeled to the bone. Sub 8% body fat as a natural. Some bodies can handle it better than others. The reason my body was so cooked was just because of back-to-back preps. And, the answer is time. I just got to keep being patient to have hormones fully come back to normal. Here on the reverse, we're only 5 weeks post-show. Sometimes it can take up to like half the amount of time you spent in prep for things to return fully to normal. So I had a 32-week prep, so it may take up to, 15 weeks to be fully back to normal, because I'm definitely still not fully back to normal. What helps me is my routine. Staying in routine is everything, guys. That's the best piece of advice I can give to you. And you just have to pull from your mind, even if you don't feel like getting stuff done, right? I can't just not show up for myself. I can't just not show up for my clients. You just have to get it done regardless of what you feel like. But having low test definitely changed who I was. It changed my personality, and living with that low of energy was something I will never forget. So keep pushing through. If you guys are, a natural, dieting super hard and your hormones are definitely tanked, it will return. The answer is time. I just got to keep reverse dieting. Make sure I'm on 3,250 calories right now, obviously out of a calorie deficit, up about 10 pounds post-show. Feeling really good. Sleep is phenomenal now. Digestion is great. In the gym, strength is slowly returning. And then hopefully, my libido and, normal functions as a male will return to normal here shortly. I don't feel like a dead corpse like I did a couple weeks out from the show, which is great. So just my experience, it wasn't too horrible. The worst thing 100% was just, waking up in the middle of the night and it being so hard to fall back asleep, as well as definitely the hunger anxiety attacks. I never experienced that before. I had a smooth prep my first show. It went great. So if you guys take away anything from this, natural bodybuilding will turn your mind into a machine, and it will make you mentally tougher than you will ever know. But also, don't do back-to-back preps, and have a proper lean bulk and take a long off season to get your body primed and metabolically primed going into a prep, as mine was not. So I will not be making that mistake anymore. We are taking at least 2 years off before we hop back into a prep, and my body will be metabolically primed. I'll probably be able to eat a lot more while dieting, do less cardio, and my hormones probably won't tank as much. So everybody has different experiences. That was mine, and that was the reason why it was so bad. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below if you guys have any more questions. Like I said, not complaining, not trying to say how hard it was and how miserable I was. I just wanted to talk about different symptoms I faced, because I'm sure people were wondering, but it's not that bad. You can get through it if you have a strong mind, and it teaches you how to be so mentally tough. And I hope you guys can learn from my experiences. Eventually they'll be over. So I had a great 2 shows, and I'm super happy for this competition season, and I'm excited to focus on coaching and my 2-year lean bulk to get absolutely massive, push that metabolism up. So if you guys are interested in working with me and building a peak natural physique, competing, lifestyle, just getting shredded for fun, looking good, or you want to change your habits, fix your gut health, actually get on healthy eating and a diet for once, coaching application link is below, or DM me if you guys have any questions. As well, if you guys would like to support me, support natural bodybuilding, support what I stand for, and not risking your life, risking your health for bodybuilding, which you can chase all your bodybuilding dreams through the natural route and the tested shows, being mentally tough, and just building a peak natural physique, man. There are some sick naturals out there. You just have to put in the time and realize it just takes years of natural training. And eventually, man, you can build a great physique for yourself that no one can take away from you because you didn't use any assistance to get there. Coaching application link below, Peak Natty hoodies link below, all my sponsors, code Gabe link below. Thank you guys for watching. Stay natural.